Alright gang, let's continue working on this page. I added a couple more pages in here, and it's as simple as just right clicking on our app, add new item. I added web forms. I want to have it associated with the master, so I make sure I'm checked here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it after I create it anyway. So it's default to add. I make sure that my master is selected. So now I've got a default to. Go ahead and delete it. Now you can pause and go through and create the extras. Got sign up, my profile, login, contact us, about us. Just some filler. On our default page, I've gone in and I've typed in default page content, and I've added some paragraphs in here just to make it take up a little bit more space. Okay. Now, there's my login. Go ahead and make that go away. And let's look at our master. In our master, we have an ID called page wrapper. We've got a header, a nav, an ID main content. We've got an ID sidebar for our aside. Okay. And then we've got our footer. So those are all things that we can manipulate in our style sheet. We'll set background colors, and we'll set some specific sizing. So to add our theme, let's start out. We're going to right click on our app, and we want to add a folder. So we're going to add, but not a new folder. We want to add an ASP.NET folder. It's a special folder, has special functionality associated with it. Select theme, and we see we have app themes. Let's call our theme gray theme. Okay. And in our gray theme, we're going to right click. We'll add a folder. We'll call it images. So if I want any images associated with my gray theme, I put them in there. And my gray theme, let's have a style associated with it. I'm going to add a style sheet. We'll call it gray theme. Okay. And we'll plan ahead. We're going to add a skin in here, but we're not going to actually use it for a little bit. We'll call it button. So our theme has associated with it some images, potentially. Skin for a button, so we want a button to look a certain way. We're not actually going to do that yet, but we're planning ahead. We've got our gray theme style sheet. Now, this style sheet, we want it to include things that will manipulate our master page. Remember, we've got page wrapper, header, nav, main content. So let's go back to our style sheet. I've got some code that I've already got set up. And okay, we've got our page wrapper, set width and the margin for it, background color for the header, background color for the nav. I could set a height, set a default to 86. and it'll be as wide as it has room to be. Set it aside. I float the aside to the right, and I float the main content to the left. Could have it vice versa. I set the main content width at 90, and let's set the aside at 180. Got a fairly standard background color, except background color for the nav I set at bisque. I set a font family for everything at Arial. Go ahead and save that. You can pause and go ahead and manually type these in, and then just restart the video once you get them entered. Okay, at this point we're assuming you've got all these entered in, or you could set them at whatever values you want. That's one of those things over time. You play with it and see what works for you and what works for the look and feel of your site. Let's go in the web config file, and in our system web, this is where we need to associate this gray theme with our pages. Let's start out with a page tag. And our pages tag will have a theme associated with it. And the theme was gray theme. And we also want, aside from that gray theme, we want to associate that style sheet with it as well. Okay. So our style sheet with that is hang on just a second, bear with me. Oh, sorry about that. Style sheet theme. And that was gray theme as well. I apologize for that. I get multitasking at times. Okay. And from there, we'll go ahead and we'll close out the tag. So now, we've associated this gray theme with all the pages within the site. Not a specific page, all the pages. So now by default, any page that's associated with our site, that gray theme CSS will apply to it. So go ahead and save our changes. Let's go ahead and run our default page and see what it looks like. Page is just about loaded up. Now here we go. Here's our site. We've got fairly standard look and feel to it. Got a page wrapper that dictates the overall size of it. We've got the header that will take up just as much space as the page wrapper that it's enclosed in. Background color for the header, background color for the nav bar. We set a height for the header, background color for our footer. Our sidebar is aligned to the right, or I should say it's floated to the right, and our main content is floated to the left. I can go change these colors, and in the next phase we're going to actually implement some images into certain areas. So that's what our images folder was for. So what we have left for project 4 is we have to use a table to format data on a page. Well, that will do here on this default page. We still have to include images and a sitemap, and then we'll talk about skins shortly. Okay. So there's our themes. When we come back, we're going to deal with the sitemap. So we'll see you then.